Hello fellow gypsies and spiritual wanderers, Mocha Gypsy here. Today we're going to do a pick a card to find out who is your future husband and what he's like. So this is a really important thing for most of you, I'm sure. And it's good to know because that way when he comes into your life, it would be very important to be able to recognize him right away. So we're going to choose from 4 different options. So we're going to present 4 objects and you pick the one that you're most drawn to intuitively or even visually. So here we go, and you can pause if you need more time. Object number 1, object number 2, object number 3, object number 4. All right, this reading is for those of you who have picked object number 1, and we'll get started. And I will start with my trusty Lenormand deck. This is my personal and professional deck that I can always rely on. And let's see what is revealed about your future husband. Okay. So let me see if I get any impressions right away. Right. All right. So the first thing that I get about your future husband is this. He's a very free spirit, okay? Possibly to the point where he's not financially stable. That's the first thing that came up, okay? I'm seeing here that also he may not come from a very stable background. There's a chance for some of you, he may have been actually either raised by his grandma, aunt, maybe at one point in his youth was a part of the foster care system, or his parents divorced at a very early age, or the father exited pretty early on. So that's the first thing I get from him. And as a result, there's some challenges in his life. Okay. The fact that I'm getting all this like right away, these are the first things, it's telling me that's going to be a part of his life that you're going to know about right away, that he is like sort of like a rebel, possibly from the wrong side of the tracks, and he overcame a lot to be where he is today, or at the time he finally meets you, made something of himself, bettered himself, pursued a higher education or training where the people in his family, the people around him, he rose above them and chose a different path for himself. Okay, and what you may notice about him, this is going to be how he sees you. All right, he'll have the utmost respect for you. Okay, maybe even to the point where he feels a little bit like he doesn't deserve you, and mean that in a sincere way, in a way where he actually feels lucky and blessed to have you in his life. Because back in the day when he was coming up troubled, he didn't think he could find a girl like you. Now, we're not talking about necessarily in terms of money and class, even though that very well could be the case, that you came from the right side of the tracks. But even if you yourself came from a similar background, you're different than what he's used to, because just like him, for many of you, you too also elevated yourself out of your environment if you came from the same type of place that he came from, you know, or if you had a similar type of background. Okay, let me see what else here. You know, and in this reading, in my readings, I cover both the good and the bad. So, you know, sorry guys if this, you know, came off right away as a little bit too intense, but I can only, you know, go by what comes up at the moment and be honest with you guys. So, you know, here we are. So I'm seeing also as a result, also with some of his challenges, things from his past. Okay. Still tied up with his past. There's some challenges still, some hauntings from his past, some residue from his past where he may deal with depression. Here's mice. For those of you who know Lenormand, mice, and you see the moon card above it. Just like with tarot, everything's not usually what you see. So he may be fighting his personal demons, okay? But the moon shows that he may keep that to himself. He may, you know, come off as more stable than he actually is. He doesn't want to burden you with his insecurities, with his, when he sometimes battles maybe a little bit of depression or anxiety. He wants to put a strong front for you, okay, and your connection. He doesn't want to overburden you. It's you know, it's more than just in a macho way. It's just that the way he was brought up, he had to have that stronger persona. It's just a part of who he is. But I'm seeing that when it comes to showing his emotions to you, he's not scared to share that part of him, that innermost part of him. And that's what makes him golden as a husband, even though he may be rough around the collars, okay, or have a rougher exterior. I get like a feeling that for a lot of you, he may seem physically intimidating to people who don't know him, either in his appearance, like he's big and tall and gruff looking, or even if he's smaller or more slight in stature, people are still intimidated by him because he's, you know, you can tell when someone just has a powerful, tough presence, you know, and not afraid to take any challenges on, because he had to be a scrapper all his life. Okay, so, and here's another thing too, because I'm looking at this as an outcome. I'm getting the impression for a lot of you, when you first meet or when you first start dating officially, that there's a chance that with a lot of you, you'll marry fast. Like it'll be like one of those stories where, you know, after 6 months of dating, he proposes and then you're married within a year or something like that. Okay, because here's the marriage contract, here's the writer, and it's like boom, 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 boom. You know, of course, if that's not your speed, you can pump the brakes. All right, you still have free will, and you don't have to make a decision, you know, sooner than you have to. But I'm just saying that with this particular person, for many, many of you, things can move fast if you want it. You know, or maybe you're in that situation now. Maybe this guy is in your life right now. Yeah, so just keep that in mind. And maybe it's because a part of it is because of his background, you know, the unstable background. He really wants to finally have something stable in his life. Maybe that's a part of his decision to want to settle down fairly quickly, you know. And yes, a part of it is because he's like really into you, you know? So let me see what other qualities I may pick up. I have my Santa Muerte tarot cards here, and I'm just gonna see what else, okay, would be good to know about him. All right, Ace of Pentacles. Ace of Pentacles. So what that's telling me is that, again, this is something that's probably influenced by his rough upbringing, possibly poor upbringing. He's going to be good with making money. For most of you, when you meet this man, he's going to be really good at making money because it's a priority to him. He grew up where he may not have had a lot, or from a, part of the being unstable is that there's not a lot of finances. He's going to make sure that he either runs his own business, or he gets like trade, like learn a very highly in demand trade, welder, plumber, electrician, even computer science. But for most of you, I get a feeling that he may be working with his hands because he's a hands-on type of personality, very practical, no bullshit, because he had to deal with bullshit most of his life. But that's a good thing. He's going to pride himself on being a provider. Work for you would be optional, and he will take pride in that you don't have to contribute. Okay, let me just see what is in my Santa Muerte oracle cards. Let's see what comes up here. Okay, number 8. You see that? And don't be put off by all the skulls and everything like that. Santa Muerte, for those of you who are familiar or not familiar, it's a lot of skeletal iconography and stuff. So don't think, oh, that's the bad or whatever. But you see this purity. So his heart's in the right place. All right? This is like a pure, clean God energy. For people may, at first judge him because maybe he even have tattoos. He looks rough and everything. But when it comes to family, people he loves, his intentions, his feelings, and his love is pure. He'll do anything for those that he loves. And he's sincere. So he has a really great, good quality energy behind him that makes up for whatever it is that was in his past when he was younger and stupider, being a product of his environment mainly. He really turned his life around, or even if he wasn't, for a lot of you, even if he wasn't living that rough life, it was rough in some other way. Even if he came up in money, where he was just able to transcend whatever negative influences were around him coming up. All right? And I would like to take a good look with my St. Michael Oracle card deck. If there's any divine messages that you're meant to hear about him. Let's see. Just feeling it out. Okay. All right. Can you guys see this? Okay. It says romance angels are helping you. Romance angels are helping you. So, him coming into your life is going to be one of those situations that is divinely guided. For a lot of you, if he's not already in your life already. For some of you, he's already here, and right now you're like saying, oh my God, I think this is him. All right? And for those of you who are already with him, think about how you got together. Chances are it was like almost like a chance encounter, like the universe was like guiding you. Like there was some place, somewhere you weren't supposed to be there, someplace on a certain day. but you were there and then you met him, or some chance meeting through mutual friends, something. But anyhow, I hope this resonated with you, number one, and that I've given you enough details so you can recognize this person. And if you wish to have a detailed reading, or would like for me to look into some other area of your life, I do offer professional psychic readings. And you may visit my website, mochagypsymagic.com, where I have a 24/7 chat line where we can also speak confidentially. So that was your reading number one. God bless. This reading is for those of you who chose object number 2. Let's get right into it and see who your future husband is. And I'll be using my trusty Lenormand deck to start. And I'm going to start shuffling and just feel out the energies that I am getting with him. Okay. All right. So, the first thing that is standing out to me about your future husband is this. He's been very hurt in the past, okay? And the fact that this even came up, because, you know, almost everyone has had their heart broken sometime, at least once or twice in their life. And the fact that this came up is telling me that it was really, really big. So it could be that he was previously married and went through a horrible, horrible divorce where he was probably deeply in love with his wife. Possibly there was like some infidelity for some of you with this person. But it was a great heartbreak. And it could be, for a lot of you guys, not even a heartbreak that has to do with romantic love. It could be another matter of the heart that broke him. It could have been like the horrible death of a parent at a young age. It could have been something that went bad with a best friend who was like a brother to him. But whatever it is, it's something that hurt him to the extent where it's something where he has to work through in order to have his heart open for love with you. Okay? So he may have some walls when you first get together. So just be aware of that. Okay. So also, I'm seeing here. So yeah, there's a chance for some of you that he may be, compared to you, older. All right. An older gentleman, and he'll show romantic interest to you right away, but still be hiding part of himself. Again, walls that he has to like work through. So, that if there's a bad side to this person, I would say that's what it is, where he's like guarded. The energy I get, he's reserved. He just doesn't want to be hurt again. All right. Let's see. All right. But on the upside, for many of you, even though he's reserved, even though he may guard his heart a bit, he's extremely stable. He's extremely stable. See the anchor there? And the fish, that represents prosperity. So he's stable both with money, finances, but he's also very emotionally stable. So he may not be considered the most, exciting guy, but he's the type who's not going to just switch up on you like Jekyll and Hyde, or say I love you one day and be gone chasing some other girl the next. The energy I'm getting from this person, it's almost like the energy he has is almost like that of an accountant. So, he's just mellow every day. He's like going to be the person he'll be 10, 15, 20 years from now is the same person you met. And to some people, they might find that boring. But to those who ever been in like a roller coaster type of relationship, been with a down low narcissist or something, this sounds like heaven, because he's just consistent, who he is, plain spoken, and yeah, the downside is it's not easy for him to open up. It's not easy for him to bear his emotions. But, with everything, there's an up and down side. Okay? Okay. There's a chance that he may be self-employed or work in a job that gives him a lot of autonomy and determine his earnings. So it could be something that's commission-based or performance and bonus based, if not outright self-employed. And the thing with him, he'll be carrying a lot of responsibility in his job, just like his work, but it's not going to be that bad for him because he's so stable emotionally and so methodical in his approach to life that the fact that there's a lot of weight on his shoulders, it won't bother him really. Okay. The downside to that, though, is that he may not have a lot of family time. Okay. Like he'll be working lots of long hours, so I don't know what your independence level is for most of you, but it's something to keep in mind. To adjust your expectations if you're the type of spouse, the type of wife who would need a lot of attention, or if you're more independent, this might be, you might be a little bit happy about that because you'll have your own projects too and your own thing going on, rather than, running up behind somebody, spending tons and tons of time together. Some women will appreciate that more. Some women don't like a man with too much time on his hands. That's the type of woman that would be happiest with this. And if you're not, hopefully you both can make an adjustment and compromise and have him carve out time for you, large chunks of time for you and your family, if and when you get to that point, if you have kids. All right. And I'm seeing his mindset is to build a legacy. Okay, you see the tree, that's, family tree, family legacy. That's what's important to him. And that would make sense given his temperament, because that's what he doesn't just do anything for no reason. He's very practical minded, and he wants a legacy for his future children, something for you to be stable, but he's thinking also in the future, and there's also a chance that he's a very spiritual person, but I'm not getting the feeling in a hippie, in a new age hippie way or whatever. I think he may be, for a lot of you, on the traditional side. Okay, he may be a Christian. He may be a Muslim. He may be, heavily into Judaism, traditional. For some of you, that'll be great news. For some of you, it'll be like, oh my gosh. But remember, if you're watching this right now and this is meant to be your husband, it won't be in a way that it would be a deal breaker to you, most likely. Maybe it might be an area of friction, or maybe it's something that you both compromise. Or for some of you, him being Christian or Jewish or Muslim, maybe that's just he was brought up in that strong foundation, which shaped his personality and his principles. And maybe even though he doesn't go to services every week or forces beliefs onto others, it shaped his personality to make him into the man that you love. So for a lot of you, it could mean that. All right. So let me take a look into my Santa Morte tarot deck, and let's just see what comes up about him that we need to know. Okay, the High Priestess. Take a good look at that. All right, so what this tells me is that he's going to hold you up as his queen. Okay? And that's where his traditionalism and his religion kind of plays a part, like, happy wife, happy life. He doesn't want, he's a very stable-minded, practical man. So he holds you up as his queen, right? There's just, in his mind, there's just a certain order in the house. The way he sees it is, he's boss outside of the house, and you're boss of the house. So he may work his check, work his commissions, his sales money, his business money, and probably will just hand over the money to you to manage the house. All right, because he doesn't want to be bothered with all that stuff. He's thinking about work. He's thinking about his business, his contacts, and everything like that. But the way his mindset will be is that you're the queen, and he wants to make sure you're happy. A big part of it is because he loves you. He'll love you. But another part of it, him being the practical man that he is, things just run smoother if you're happy. So that's, why let a boat rock unneedingly, So that's also a part of it too. And that's good news. I think that's good. All right, let me see what the Oracle card, my Santa Morte Oracle card says. So we're going to see what's meant to come up with that. What are you meant to see? Just feeling it out, guys. Feeling it out. You feel it? Okay, this is the one. All right. See this? And this is 15. Beautiful card here. You see the crescent moon? All right. So it's really echoing the last card that I pulled about, the High Priestess card. This is like another version of it. And the fact that it's coming up a second time is really, really pointing to the fact that you're his queen, that you'll be his queen in this marriage. So he sees himself as a king. He's building his castle, what he sees as his castle, his empire, regardless of the level of wealth he has, even though his life will be very stable financially for the both of you. All right? And he's seeing you as a true partner, not only in making sure that you're happy, but he sees the two of you as a team of equals, just with different duties and responsibilities in running the house. Not in a demeaning way, but he's really placing you in a place of honor and respect. He actually appreciates that you're the mother of his children, or potentially the mother of his children. All right? So that's a really good card that came up. And I will see with Saint Michael. So let's see if there's any spiritual message that we're meant to hear from him. All right. Believe and trust. Believe and trust. All right. And the context of this reading about your husband in particular is that he really honors trust in the relationship, and he's the type of guy where he's a man of his word. Like he's really, for a lot of you, he's really, he takes a lot of pride in meaning what he says and saying what he means. And when he takes his marriage vows, he too will take that seriously. You know, I almost get like a military vibe from him. Even if he wasn't in the military, for some of you, even if he wasn't in the military, that's the vibe. You know, accountant, military, maybe firefighter, maybe police officer, any type of profession or business that requires like a disciplined mind, that ideally requires someone who's even-tempered and practical. All right? And traditional. So, I hope that resonated with you, number 2. If you need a more in-depth reading, I do offer that and other spiritual services. You may visit me and book your call at mochagypsymagic.com. Okay, thank you, number 2. Hi, pile number 3. This is your reading to find out who your future husband will be, both the good and the bad. And let's get right into it. I'll be using my trusty Lenormand deck to start. And let's see what comes up about your future husband. Okay. Right. Okay. Very similar energy to those of you who chose number 2. So if you, in this reading, if you chose more than one pile and you chose number 2, let this one here be like a confirmation or even more in depth about your number 2 person here. Okay. Very stable mentally, emotionally, but unlike number 2, he may not make as much money financially, at least not when you first meet him. For some of you, that could be solely because maybe he's on the younger side, or maybe because he's in the middle of a career change, could be going to school or training for something new, which would make him at the time you meet not as financially stable. And there's a chance that also he may be a foreigner, okay? A foreigner, or someone who, for some of you, someone who comes from a completely different area than you, even though he may be of the same nationality or ethnicity. You could be from New York and he is from Arizona and he's transplanted to where you are, or something like that, okay? Or it could also mean that you both met while traveling. So there's like an element of distance between the two of you. For some of you, it could be like a long distance relationship, like you met online, or you met in a city and in passing, and now you're both in your, your hometowns or home cities, and you kept in touch, and now you have a thing together where you're corresponding, and something like that, some sort of like element of distance, okay? Or maybe you met on social media and connected there, something like that. All right. So I would say, let's see here. All right. So, saying both the bad and the good here, I'm seeing, his flaw, because this is coming up and it's not like for no reason. He may be a little too self-focused and self-centered, okay? It could be something for some of you that it's not necessarily a deal breaker because it's something that he's actively working on. I get the feeling that this self-centeredness is actually like a survival mechanism for him. All right. But that's what I'm seeing here about him. Okay. That's his like one flaw. So, you know what? I want to see what comes up about him in my Santa Muerte tarot deck. Here it is. So let's just see what comes up. Okay, the Hermit. You see that? The Hermit. Okay, so that's giving us a little bit more insight in the self-centeredness, whatever. There's a chance that for a lot of you, there's a chance that he may be autistic, like Asperger's, somewhere a little bit on the spectrum, and for others maybe a lot on the spectrum. Okay. And that's like the reason for this perceived self-centeredness, where he's like kind of like in on himself. I don't know a lot about autism or the spectrum or whatever. It could also be that he's just extremely introverted too. It doesn't have to, for some of you, it doesn't have to be, this diagnosis or whatever. It could be that he's just, that self-centeredness. It could be actually not necessarily self-centeredness, but it could be that he's just a lot in his own world, a lot in his own thoughts, which manifests, which comes off as him being selfish or self-centered or thoughtless. So, that's what I'm seeing there. Let's see what else. Just feeling it out. Okay. Oh God. The devil. All right. I know this is intense, guys, but I have to just tell you what I see, right? It's not going to be all roses for most people, or for some of you. For some of you it will, maybe, but this is what came up, the devil. So what this means, the energy I'm feeling that's associated with this, and this came up for a reason, that he may have habits. All right? He may have habits. For some of you, it could be corn. It could be him eating too much or drinking too much. Excess, I'm not a doctor, okay? But it's like him being self-focused into himself. having certain habits. He may have some issues within this marriage that may or may not, that may be for some of you showed itself after you committed with him, or it may be something that you were aware of and accepted before you committed. But I'm seeing there's going to be issues that he has to deal with and overcome. Let me just see what else comes up with that. Clarify even more. Okay, King of Swords. All right, so it's all like, it's all like confirming this composite of this person, King of Swords. What he does for a living, he may work in technology, computer science, some sort of engineer or data analyst, work in robotics, anything technical, maybe AI, that sort of, along that vein, or be very interested in computers. So likely this is all stuff he'll do professionally, but it could also be that he could be doing something else, for some of you doing something else, but have a deep interest in technology and internet and, all that stuff. But also what comes with the King of Swords is someone who's not in touch with his emotions. It does skew to be someone who is more self-focused or self-centered. Doesn't necessarily mean in a malicious way. For some of you, it can be that, malicious, and then now we're going to the territory of someone who's a bit narcissistic, which we hope for you that won't be the case. But I feel like for most of you, this will be just like a general self-focused, think of someone whose passion is working with things, working with technology, but can do great things with that passion. Okay? And I hate to say it because some of you are going to go, ew, but think of Elon Musk's, right? Think of the Elon Musks of the world, or Steve Jobs. Okay, that's the type of archetype that I felt compelled to say in get it out of my head and let you guys know that. Some of you that's like good news to hear. Some of you are probably horrified. I'm sorry. This is the message we've been given here. Okay. And for those of you who are happy about it, congrats. But yeah, he's cut from that same type of cloth. Maybe a little autistic or Asperger's, or maybe just extremely introverted or shy, and that's just who he is. And maybe you just have to, both of you just have to, work something out where this marriage works for the both of you. Obviously, you both got together because there is some foundation of love there. Okay? Or maybe you're an independent-minded person who won't even mind this type of personality. So don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. And this is another card, Temperance. So everything will find its way in balance. You just both might have to work on it to finally get that balance where you pull him back, or he realizes he needs to pull back and focus on what else is important, which is your marriage, which is you. And I have a feeling that since this card came up, that you will find your balance together and be happy. All right, so having said that, let's see the St. Michael Oracle card deck, if there's any guidance, spiritual guidance. Okay, here we go. Prayer will help this situation. Prayer will help this situation. So, what that's telling me is that whatever rough patches that may happen in this marriage, you can trust on the divine, whether you see that as, God, as the universe, even the law of attraction, whatever the spiritual means. You can rely on the spiritual to help smooth things over, maybe even do spells, but what that's telling me is that the spiritual world, relying on things from spiritual and divine energies, would work very well in navigating and molding this marriage to what you want it to be. So that's what's really good about that. Okay, and let me just take a quick look at my Oracle deck, my Santa Morte Oracle deck, just to see if there's anything here. Let's see for this. All right. Number 4, and you see the World card, and you see this here, very colorful. So what this is telling me, number 4 here, is completion and happiness. So even though there may be rough patches in this connection, when you get to the other side of it, it's going to be a fabulous, fabulous marriage, a fabulous union that was worth the effort. Okay? So I hope this reading resonated with you. All right? Number 3, I hope it resonated with you. And if you would like a more in-depth reading, or have me take a look at some other area in your life in more in depth, please book a call at my website, mochagypsymagic.com. And thank you. Hi, number 4, here is your reading. Who is your husband? So we're going to dive right into it. Okay, I'll be using my trusty Lenormand deck to start. And let's see what type of energies come up. All right. Okay. All right, so the first thing that I'm seeing about him, all right, is that just as with pile number 3, there's a chance that he may be a foreigner, but in this case, I'm getting the feeling more of he may be of a different ethnicity or race than you. Yes, he could be from someone from a different country. But for a lot of you, I'm getting the feeling that he's different from you in some way, most likely ethnically, not just in nationality, and that will be a part of his appeal. Okay, on both ends, almost like the exotic factor of being different from each other will spark a little bit of intrigue. That's what I'm getting. And here's the thing, I'm saying all this so you'll know to recognize him as well. He has, I know this word has been tossed around, okay, but he has a personality that's a little bit on the alpha side. For some of you, it may be overwhelming. And then for another group of you out there, he's just right. Like an alpha man who is softer around the edges, okay? But there's no doubt that he's a leader and takes the leadership role, in work and, in his personal life as well. And I'm seeing that energy also coming through with being with you. I'm seeing very, very much that, he's very into you and not scared to show it. And that for a lot of you, he's going to be the one doing most of the pursuing, if not all of the pursuing. Like there's going to be like no doubt in your mind of his intentions and wanting to be with you. All right. So that's what I'm seeing. And if you notice, that's the ring. So he'll know, he's going to be one of those men who will know fairly quickly, fairly right away, that he wants you to be his wife. And he's not going to beat around the bush about it. He may even, like the most indirect thing that he'll do with you is maybe like joke around, like really early on, like, oh yeah, you're my wifey, or oh yeah, you're my wife, or something like that, where it's like you already know what's on his mind, and he's not really hiding it. Okay, so let's see what else comes up about him. So I'm seeing the books here, and I'm seeing he's also pretty sophisticated. All right, for a lot of you, I'm seeing that he's going to be an educated man. Whether or not that's formal education or not, if it's formal education, he has at least like a college degree, maybe even higher than a bachelor's, all right? Or for a lot of you, what's even more likely is that he learned from the school of life. He's very street smart, all right? But either way, one or the other, he comes off as very sophisticated. You see the guy here? Very sophisticated. He has table manners. He knows what it's like to eat in a nice restaurant. All right. He's been to many. He may be even the type who enjoys a good cigar once in a while. All right. He enjoys the finer things in life. And I guess, as I'm saying this, it goes hand in hand with being an alpha male. Like he has a lot of pride in achieving things. And a part of that comes with achieving things is material success. All right. And so when he has that steak dinner at an expensive steakhouse and the good wine and everything, he sees that as a reward for himself and tangible proof of having done a good job, a great job, and doing well in life. So I'm just giving you his mindset of how he is. All right, so the next thing about him. All right, so I'm just telling you things that's coming up. Hierarchy. Okay, so he may work for a large corporation. Okay, I'm seeing this about him. He may work for a large corporation, maybe the government. It's just big, 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 big. Okay, for some of you, he may be the owner of that corporation. He may be the owner of that big business. All right. We very well can be talking about your husband being a wealthy man or on his way to being very wealthy. All right. So let that go in. And if that's the case, he may put off marrying you just for a little while, not because he doesn't know that you're going to be his wife. He knows right away that he wants you to be his wife, but he'll have it in his mind that there's certain milestones that he wants to achieve before fully committing to you. Okay. You know, so that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing with him. You know, he wants to get, you know, the house, the car. He wants a certain amount of money in the bank, and then he can turn around and marry you. Also, even though he knows he wants you as his wife, he wants to wait a little bit just to make sure that you both have trust in each other, that you can trust each other, because his mindset is he doesn't want to lose half his assets and things like that. Okay, if that makes sense. So that's the type of energy. Very high achieving, very high energy, aggressive energy, manly energy. For some of you, he's going to be sharp around the edges. For the other half of you, he's going to be softer around the edges, where he knows when to be nice, he knows when to be polite, he knows when to be polished, but like step up when he has to. And then the other half of you with the first type, you're gonna kind of be walking with a bull in a china shop most of the time, and you may have to just find a way to get around that. So let me see what else is to be seen about him in my Santa Muerte tarot deck. We'll see what comes up, what you're meant to know about him. Let's see here. Just feeling it out. Okay, Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords. Okay. So this is an interesting one. Okay, so Queen of Swords. It's like his. Okay, there's most alpha men they usually prefer someone who, you know, like that traditional trad wife. You know, very soft. You know, very dainty, stereotypically feminine, and you know, passive or submissive or whatever. He's not really into that. You know, he likes a Queen of Swords type of woman, a woman who's independent minded, highly intelligent. You having your own business, whether or not it's successful or whatever, you having your own thing that you're passionate about will be a big turn on for him. Okay? He loves that. Okay? And if you happen to be that that typical type who's soft and submissive and everything like that, you know, he chose to be with you for a reason. So there's something in you that he still really, really likes if he knows right away you're going to be his wife. But obviously he would deviate from his type. I'm just letting you know, if you don't fit this, either way, it doesn't matter, but that's his type. All right. So either you're not his type, but he still loves you anyway. He still loves you anyway, still pursued you anyway. You're not, you know, it'll be one of those things where it's like, oh, you're really not my usual type, but, you know, there's something about you, you're mine. Or if you skew more this way, great, congratulations, you're his dream woman. He loves, he's an alpha who actually loves independent women, someone who will challenge him, call him on his shit, who has a backbone of steel. It turns him on. He wants an equal. Okay. Let me see if anything else comes up we're meant to know. This is one. You feel this. High Priestess. Okay, High Priestess. Just as with those who picked, I believe, pile number 3. Pile number 3. You're the queen of the castle. You're the queen of the castle. All right. Even though he's alpha, he lives to make sure that you're happy. Your happiness is actually important to him. All right. And again, just as with pile number 3, he'll have you run the household. All right. But I am feeling the extra energy that even though he's alpha-ish and everything, I get the feeling with right now that he may actually like giving up control in the bedroom. Like he likes a dominant woman in the bedroom. That's where he's skewing. For you to take charge. And that may even extend outside the bedroom too, where he likes you to make a lot of the key decisions and stuff. Because the feeling I get is that his life is so demanding, where he's calling all the shots, that letting you call all the shots, like in your relationship, is like a relief to him, and maybe even a turn on. That's what came up. That's what, that's for many of you. All right. Let me see what comes up in my Santa Muerte Oracle deck. All right. Let's see. Okay. Very similar to 3. Okay. And his love is also very pure and very straightforward and simple. Again, just like with pile number 3, a man of his word. It's almost like he's like the super extroverted version of 3, but way more socially skilled and dominant. But at the core, his love is just like that. His love is pure, and he means what he says and says what he means. Very plain spoken and strong with his convictions. Okay. And let's see, with my St. Michael Oracle card deck, let's see if there's any messages, divine spiritual messages that you're meant to hear regarding your future husband. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to have you look at that. Positive thoughts create positive results. Positive thoughts create positive results. Okay. So he's a very optimistic person. He's about action. And he's really big on the power of the mind. He doesn't tolerate what he would call losers, okay, or the loser mindset. Like he's a lot into self-improvement type of stuff, like Anthony Robbins. Like he's the type who would pay thousands of dollars to go to one of his seminars, or someone like him, or pay for a Mind Valley lifetime subscription. Like he's really into self-improvement. Like he's in competition with himself. Okay. And he would also encourage you to have the same type of attitude, to think positively, to think of the things that will go right in life, not wrong. Okay. So, that's just overall the type of person he is. All right. So, okay, number 4, I really hope that this reading resonated with you. And if you would like a more in-depth reading, you can schedule a reading with me at mochagypsymagic.com. All right. And thank you very much.